a lot. Also the AVID teacher, which stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. So shout out to AVID.
Hey.
Teaching kids how to, the tools that they need to succeed in life and just succeed and get to college. So
when those wide receivers that you're coaching, when they look at you and say, Coach, what was your time like at Baylor? How do you describe that?
I just say amazing. I mean, every single time it's just amazing because it was like I said before, just the culture to be around and just the funness of it and the atmosphere when you went to the games and, how people seeing you outside in the stores and just kind of compliment you. It was just fun to be around. So it was, I always say it was amazing and, I always challenge them and try to show if I still got it or not. So still do that to them. So it's fun.
Tevin, you had a lot of big touchdowns for Baylor. Is there one touchdown, one play, or even one moment that, besides the Big 12 championship closing the case, that stands out to you?
One touchdown, I would say the Houdini catch. I'd say,
Yeah.
Bryce through the post and kind of caught it with one hand and all that. Scored a touchdown. That was fun. So, the big game when they always say we were just still the old Baylor and we came out and put the smack down on West Virginia. So that was always fun. So that was a touchdown that I always remember. It was a good picture. Got a good picture of it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be a great picture.
Oh yeah.
You didn't get to play here at McLean Stadium. You finished at the Case. Do you get to come to games very often?
Yeah. So I try to every time if it's a later game. We work on Saturdays at coaches, so try to come in later games as much as possible. And the Texas High School Coaches Association, have a partnership with high schools. I mean colleges where they'll give you free tickets. So that's a good thing that they do for us. So we'll try to get as many tickets as we can to come out and bring the family out and just enjoy this atmosphere.
Well, you're here with your family today. You want to give them a little shout out? They're watching you from the corner over there. What's it mean to be here for homecoming with all of them out here with everybody? And what was it like getting that phone call that you're the legend?
It was amazing. It just was like everything that we did and everything we talked about and everything we dreamed of kind of paid off. So it was just like a relief of, hey man, I finally did it. Kind of like a I made it moment. But it was just fun, having them out here just with the support, and they've been supporting me my whole life. So it's always a good thing to have them. So.
Very cool. Well, congratulations. We're really happy for you and glad you're here today. And couldn't be better weather for the game today, and it's homecoming, so there's a lot wrapped up into it. You guys were throwing the ball. I mean, you were point-a-minute offense when you were playing. It's a little different. This offense is a little different from a coach's perspective. What do you think about the way this offense is working?
I think it works. It's a lot of different ways that you could do different things. So, running a wide zone and things like that and taking your shots. It's kind of similar to what we did, but we just did it at a more fast pace and kind of lean more towards the passing side. So, but everything works, and I love the offense that they have. It's a powerful offense, so I love it.
Well, let's hope that they have just as many touchdowns as you did and give you a win for homecoming and the day that we celebrate you as Baylor legend. Thank you so much for coming out and taking some time to visit with us. We will let you go, and we'll be back with more of the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show right after this.
Thank you.
Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. I think we're going to be talking about some offense.
Just a tad, yep.
A little bit. There we go. I hear it in my.
That's good.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. Happy homecoming to you all. We're out here on Touchdown Alley with all of the tailgaters. And now we welcome in former quarterback Seth Russell. I don't know, everyone missed it because we were in break, but I had this great one-handed snag.
It was great. It was amazing.
It was fantastic.
I appreciate it. It's really windy out here, and there was a paper flying, and I snagged it. And hopefully we have a couple of great catches like that today. What do you think?
I think you have some eligibility left, right?
Yeah, I'll just go dress up with a random.
But luckily we don't need it. Right, we don't need
Right,
it.
we don't need it.
Got some good
Nor
guys
do
on the
we want
offensive
it.
side.
Got a good stable.
Yeah, no, the Baylor did a great job last week. They did a really good job just setting the tone up front. That I think we joked about it earlier in the segment was, hey, I like 2 or 3 play play drives, especially when it ends with a touchdown.
Right.
And the Grimes, I think they did a great job up front, expecting that roll down, press coverage. Hey, man free. Hey, let's go win, and they did that.
Last year, the numbers that BYU put up under Coach Grimes really spoke for themselves. Over 40 points a game, over 500 yards a game. And obviously, they had some veteran players in that system a while. But it feels like we're starting to see that coming to fruition here at Baylor. He's talked about the term reliable, violent offense. What does that mean to you? And is that what we saw last week against West Virginia?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, no turnovers. I mean, that's reliability at its finest. As long as they can keep the ball and keep driving and keep the ball away from the other team and keep putting points up on the board, I think that's really going to be really important. And then putting a lot of stress on their defense, keeping them on the field, tiring them out. I think they did a great job on that piece as well. They were just, they were having their way with West Virginia, and hopefully that can, roll over in today as well.
Well, Derek, you mentioned it. Over 500 yards of offense is what BYU had last year under Grimes. Obviously, Grimes is now here at Baylor, and we're seeing that same success. RVO is working. Reliable, violent offense. Last week against West Virginia, there were 525 yards of total offense for the Bears. And you got to feel good about that when you see that. But at the same time, people could be sitting there thinking, oh, no, BYU knows everything about Grimes in this offense. But fortunately, they were able to mix things up a little bit. When he first got here, Coach Aranda earlier in the week said, when he was asked, hey, there's a lot of similarities here. He goes, well, we did change the play calls right at the beginning of the season, but the verbiage on the line, that's something that maybe, Seth, you can kind of speak to, the importance of that verbiage and making sure that the defensive line doesn't know what you're talking about. So they kind of had to switch that up a little bit this week. Let's hear from Coach Aranda, and then we'll hear thoughts from Seth Russell.
A lot of the signals are different from the beginning. I think there's some language on the line of scrimmage that would be the same, and so we're looking at changing those up.
Looking to change those up, Seth. Is that difficult to change up midweek because they just had West Virginia last week? Now they got to switch it over. Is that something that's difficult, or you think they're easily capable of doing that?
Yeah, I think it's easily capable. Us being in our offense when we ran it, a lot of the guys knew what we were calling up front, and that makes it even better when you pull out the W, when they know what's coming at you.
Right,
and you're still able to smash it and make them make wrong decisions. And you can even say, hey, play some mind games, call some of the same plays that maybe they've heard when they were at BYU, and really play that psychological warfare with them. And the offensive line should do what they do. It doesn't matter if they know what's coming. If they know it's coming, great. Still hit them in the mouth and run the ball.
Well, and our offensive line has done a fantastic job giving Bohannon plenty of time. He's barely been sacked. And, he's one of – I'm going to read my notes so I don't mess this up. He's one of 2 quarterbacks. The only other quarterback is Ole Miss quarterback Matt Corral. That have 1,000-plus passing yards and 0 interceptions. That is that'll stat work. Right there. Right, that'll work. That we have our defense working on the take 3 and our offense working on the you're not getting any, and I love that.
Well, I think now we've seen 7 games into the season, Brooke, that this is a good offensive team, but especially early on we're trying to figure out who this team was. You just look at the fact that if you're getting turnovers, not turning the ball over, your learning curve is that much easier. Adjustment period is that much shorter. Well, now that we see this team is good and those numbers are still holding steady, I mean, that bodes well for a game against a top 25 team like BYU. It bodes well for a lot of close games in the Big 12.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and to add to that, Gary has made some phenomenal decisions with the football. Grimes has put him in a really good position on, every single play to make it say, hey, you're going to hit him in the chest regardless of what's going to be called. And they're going to catch it, right? The receivers have done a phenomenal job of not just being lazy on their routes. They really come in and out of their routes and making big plays when they're called.
Not just the wide receivers, but our tight end. We have Ben Sims.
Sure.
I think he just tied the record for the most touchdown catches by a tight end here at Baylor.
Yeah, we never threw the tight end.
Still got the rest of the season.
Yeah. Unfortunately, if you played tight end when we were here, you never got the ball. You were unless you were Laquan McGowan, and we threw it to him a couple times.
Did we call those inside receivers occasionally? We'd switch a tight end to inside receiver, and that was their spot.
Exactly. Yeah, you better be able to block if you're a tight end. So
there you go.
Nice red zone weapon, though. What we've seen with Ben Sims combined with Gary's running ability, when the team gets down where the field gets compressed, it seems like there's a lot of options for this team.
Yeah, big bodies is what you want in the red zone. Big bodies, quick, get in and out of routes, and then you can be deceptive on Ben. He's a pretty quick dude as himself with the size that he has, and Gary's been very accurate with the ball, putting it in catchable positions, and that's going to be critical in the red zone.
Well, I love it. We will be back with more on the Baylor offense as they gear up for this top 25 matchup with BYU just after this. Can you hear me? Happy homecoming, Coach Moore.
Hey, Coach.
Congratulations. Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. Happy homecoming. It never gets old saying that. Lots of fun out here on Touchdown Alley, and we are going to have a lot of fun continuing to talk about this Baylor offense. They've been super fun to watch, over 500 yards of offense last weekend against West Virginia. Now they're going up against a top 20 BYU, and they're going to need all of those yards of offense again. And one of the big storylines, like we've mentioned, is that Grimes and our offensive line coach, Eric Mateos, came from BYU here to Waco for the offense this year. They're bringing RVO here. But they aren't the only ones who came to Baylor. In fact, we have a grad transfer on the line, offensive lineman Jacob Gall. This is why he decided to come to Baylor.
It was great to have so many different teams reach out to me, but I'm so glad that I found a great place here in Waco. The coaches have been awesome, and that was the main difference. Is Coach Mateos, Coach Grimes, Coach Aranda. They just were such genuine people and great coaches, and just doing more research into them, they were just it seemed just to be the perfect fit for me, and just the scheme and the coaching style, and just they were just so awesome in every single conversation I had with them.
Well, I think he's a perfect fit. What do you think, Seth? He's been doing doing great on the line. He said at Buffalo, where he spent his first 4 years, it was very similar. And so when he came here, it was kind of, an easy transition into learning RVO with the rest of the team as they were all doing it at the same time.
Absolutely. I think that's a perfect fit. It was just an easy transition for him. He's done an amazing job up front. He's really ran the offensive line as being the center. I mean, that's, as a quarterback, that's your best friend. He's the guy making all the calls up front. Guys making sure that we're in the right decision, getting on the line, setting everybody up. And, with him knowing and coming with a lot of experience from Buffalo, I mean, what else do you want more? I mean, he's not a newbie coming out of high school. He's been in there. He's been in the trenches for several years, and he's really set the tone up front.
Well, and one thing that he added is he's kind of getting a 2-for-1 a little bit when you think about it, because BYU, Grimes, when he was at BYU, obviously most recently he was their OC, but before that he had a stint there where he was the O-line coach. And so now you have guys like Jacob Gall coming here, and they're essentially learning from 2 O-line coaches, with the OC and Eric Mateos.
Well, and you look, just the synergy, it seems like, between the line, between Coach Mateos, between Coach Grimes, and it makes sense with Coach Grimes having that background. He gets what Coach Mateos is doing. I knew there was plenty of room to improve from last year, but I don't know about you guys. I'm very, very pleasantly surprised by just how much the offensive line has improved over the last year. It really looks like a different line, and a lot of that has to go to certainly Coach Mateos and Coach Grimes. And you've had the additions, but they've taken the guys who were there last year and really coached them up fast.
And one of those guys, the whole offense as a whole is looking a lot better from last year. And one of those guys that decided to stick around for an extra year is Treston Ebner.
Going 2-7 just left like a bitter taste in my mouth. I really wanted to finish better than I started. And I just had faith in Coach Aranda and Coach Juice and the coaching staff they brought in. And me and Juice talked after the season, and once we found out it was a coaching change, I already decided to come back, and he was like, the offense that we're bringing in will fit your skill set really well. And plus, I just felt like I wasn't fully prepared. The year I got with Coach Juice, I felt like I learned a lot more than I had. And I just figured another year would be a blessing and I could get better at my game.
I don't know about y'all, but I would say it's a blessing that we have him here again this year.
Yeah, he's done an amazing job. He's set the tone. Being a kickoff guy, as soon as he gets the balls in his hands, I mean, he's electric. And those guys up front enjoy blocking for him because they're making a huge difference on the special team side of the ball.
I love the statement it made. Last year was a tough year in so many ways. Win and loss record, was not what they wanted it to be. You had to deal with COVID and all the protocol. For him to come back and say, I want to finish out strong, finish out with Coach Aranda, I just think that really buoyed a lot of people around him, and it made a statement about what Coach Aranda was building here.
Absolutely. Having guys come back that buy into the system, that buy into the program, especially a guy like him that's really set the tone. He's a true leader on and off the field, and wearing the number 1, he's got a lot of eyes on him, and he's definitely representing that number really well on what he's done and what he's done for Baylor.
Absolutely. And how neat would it be for him to get that bowl eligibility after a 2-7 year last year right here on homecoming, and that'll be something that hopefully we're talking about next week, or 2 weeks from now. We got a bye week next week, but we'll be back to talk some defense and welcome Elliot Coffey to the stage right after this break. Don't go anywhere. Happy homecoming.
During the normal practice, he's going to do them from up there.
Huh.
Yeah.
How about them apples?
Yeah.
I'm going to get into we have a lot of video on this one. Welcome back to the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. It is the 97th homecoming football game here as we celebrate this matchup between future Big 12 opponent BYU and your Baylor Bears. Elliot Coffey now joins us, but we have to talk about all the different activities that have been happening here this week, because homecoming is so much more than just this football game.
Yeah, homecoming is a blast. I mean, as a freshman, you have, the freshman mass meeting, and then we used to have something called Defend the Flame, which we'll maybe save that for the post-game part to talk about. But we, a ton of activities, pigskin, et cetera, et cetera. There's just a ton of stuff that's really fun for people to get involved.
You've got the Sailor Bear pullover on. Sailor Bears become a part
game,
of
baby.
Yeah.
It's the Sailor game. There you go.
Yeah. One other thing that came out this week is a new Lady, the Miracle Bear documentary, celebrating the fact that she's still here with us despite several obstacles over the last 2 years.
We've had bears on campus for over 100 years, and anyone who does anything for over 100 years learns a lot along the way. Lady's health journey is in a lot of ways to be expected for a 19-year-old bear.
We started noticing signs with Lady that things were going wrong even as early as mid-March, I would say.
I remember getting a call from one of our student caregivers saying Lady is not getting up.
I wondered for a second, is she ever going to be in the habitat again? And the truth is we didn't know the answer to that.
Just because they might be wildlife or wild animals doesn't mean that we can't offer them the same great care that we offer our other small animals, large animals, or humans alike.
The surgery had never been performed on a black bear before, or a bear at all.
Lady's a miracle bear because she just has brought so much positivity amongst such a difficult year.
Lady's a miracle bear because she's defeated all the odds.
No bear in the world has done what Lady has done. She has overcome obstacles that are far beyond the realm of possibility for a bear.
We are very fortunate she is still here. Derek, I learned actually her very first homecoming, she was not even one yet. So this is her 20th homecoming. We are super happy she's here. And Derek, you said you were able to watch that
It's
documentary.
fantastic. I'd encourage every Baylor fan, and even if you're not a Baylor fan, if you're just an animal lover or intrigued by that sort of thing, to watch it. You really appreciate what she went through. She dealt with a mass near her heart, a mass on her spine, and they were able to treat her. Shout out to Texas A&M.
Yes.
We don't always do that on Baylor homecoming, but
it's the only time we give a shout out on homecoming.
They took great care of her, and her caretakers here at Baylor are amazing. And it's a 20-minute video. I'd encourage everyone to watch it on Baylor Facebook or baylor.edu/bear.
Yes, or the YouTube channel. So
yes.
Super exciting there. We're very thankful to have her. And there's someone else that we're very thankful to have as he celebrates not quite his 20th anniversary, but pretty close to it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Raleigh Tejada on his 6th and final homecoming as a Baylor Bear.
Baylor feels like home. It's been 6 years here for me. I've literally grown up here. I came here in a summer of 16 at 17 years old.
Raleigh Tejada is 23 now and a starting cornerback for the Bears.
The teammates, just all the teammates that I have that I still talk to from 2016 that have gone places, that are coaching, that have real jobs now. It's fun just because it's a personal bond with each and every teammate, and just having bonds with guys from 2016 that were seniors then, going all the way to now to being close with freshmen now.
It's the bond he has with all of his teammates that made the decision to return for an extra COVID year an easy one.
I wanted to come back to win. I wanted to come back to play for Coach Aranda and this team and to come out on top. Coach Aranda is a great person, and each and every day I've learned so much from him. Coach Curtis, my coach, all my teammates, and it's just a special opportunity that I couldn't pass up, and I wouldn't have felt closure here at Baylor without coming back for my last year.
One win from becoming bowl eligible, Tejada is set to play in his 6th and final homecoming game Saturday.
I feel like that's been the best part of just the whole experience. All the alumni coming back and watching us play, and just, I guess, kind of honoring them with our play. And going back to my freshman year, people that I knew on campus, coming back to see me actually playing now and being the older guy is super fun, and just going out there and just playing my heart out just for the whole university. It's just every year, it's super exciting to go out there and do that.
As Tejada wraps up his master's degree and begins to prepare for his future as a football coach, he says he has plenty of mentors to lean on from his time here at Baylor.
I've had 5 different cornerback coaches since I've been here, so just learning their coaching style and their personality and just how they coach, how they teach, how they live their lives. And I've taken in so much from them, and I feel like one day, whenever I coach, I can kind of implement each and everything from each person.
Through coaching changes and a pandemic, Tejada remained loyal to his team, his university, his home.
6 years, it's gone by really fast. Going back to my freshman year, it feels like yesterday. So it's just been fun just being here at Baylor and just enjoyed every second of it.
What does that mean to you when you're an alumni of the program?
Yeah.
And to see the dedication and the loyalty that someone like Raleigh Tejada has, despite 5 different cornerback coaches, and to still be here and celebrating his 6th and final homecoming, to know that that loyalty is here in that program that started with you guys. What does that mean to you to see?
Well, either he decided that his master's wasn't enough and wanted to work on his PhD, or we did a really good job with him. I mean, he's been a guy that I remember when he came in 2016. It was a huge pickup for us. He had a brother that at the time was playing at TCU that was an incredible corner as well. And so to see his development, and of course for him to come back again after, a couple different rebuilds, we talked about it, 2017 and of course 2019, last year being a particularly hard year with no fans in the stands, et cetera, for him to come back and kind of see the vision for this coaching staff and the capabilities that this team has. I mean, it means the world that he came back, and you can see the success that we've had because of the plays that he's made has been huge for us.
Absolutely. He just collected his 4th career interception on the year. I'd say the future of football, if he becomes a coach, is in pretty good hands.
Yeah, I love the way what he brings to this program and what he can impart to guys that come behind him. I mean, he's seen every system. He's been a part of 2 of the better defenses we've had in a while, so it's going to be exciting to see what he takes to the next level. We'll be back with more right after this on the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. Happy homecoming. More from Touchdown Alley.
Welcome back to the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. We have Elliot Coffey here talking Bears defense. We just wrapped up talking about Raleigh Tejada and the success that he and the rest of the corners truthfully have had on this team under former SMU cornerbacks coach, and now he came down the road to Waco. But it's pretty neat to see his success, and it's also really neat to see someone else come back and to have some success after a couple of ups and downs and his fair share of obstacles. We're really glad Terrell Bernard is back.
I think of like groundedness. I think of being settled. I think of there's one voice, one guy making the call. I think of, when you've got Terrell in the huddle and you're looking in his eye, there's a trust and a confidence that you feel. And I know I feel that. And so I have to imagine our team feels that when they're on the field with him. And so I think for him to be a part of us is important because he's a leader among us.
I feel like I hadn't been able to play a full game yet this year. The first couple games, we won, and I was playing the first half a little bit of the third quarter, and then get hurt the first half of Iowa State, and then miss Oklahoma State. So, I haven't been able to play as much, and just getting back out there and being with my teammates and stuff, it was fun. So, it was a big relief and kind of just back to football.
Man. I'm glad he's back. I'm telling you what, if you hear coaches, one of the things that I like to do is kind of a prep for the next week is watch the press conferences from the opposing coaches, talk about our team. I want to hear what they're focusing on. I want to hear what they're worried about. They're all worried about Terrell Bernard. This is a solid defense, and he is that fundamental piece right there in the middle that separates, I think, really good defenses from great defenses. And he's had to deal with injury. He fought back. It was the shoulder last year. It's the knee this year. If you would have told me that he had a knee surgery a week before he played that game that he did last week, I wouldn't believe you.
Right.
Look, 9 tackles last week, and really the defense only gave up one meaningful touchdown in the game, right? That very first drive. We've got a good defense, but that's that next level that you talked about. We played well against Oklahoma State without him, but we made some mistakes.
Right.
He's an eraser. He's an eraser out there. He picks up the slack for other guys.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, if you look at, the game plan, and when you've got Jalen Petrie knifing off the edge on one end, when you've got Terrell Bernard just reading the game, I mean, cerebral as players get, right? Just smart, understanding how to read, different offenses, different looks, where to be. You don't make plays the way that he makes plays without understanding where the movement of the play is going, where they're trying to attack. And he just, whether it's his interceptions or his sacks or his tackle for losses, he just understands the game. And having him out there puts us at such an advantage against really anybody that we're going to play.
And I think, we always say it starts up at the front, but when those guys are able to have the time to read those things, to make those interceptions, to get those tackles, get those sacks, we're going to talk about those in a minute, but it really does start up front. And Coach Aranda, in those post-game press conferences, in his weekly press conferences, mentioned how vital it was that Apu-Ika finally had a complete game.
Once again, in the fan forum, if you guys check out the game, we've got opinions on kind of how things have gone with the Apu-Ika experiment. And last week, his dominance was what we expected.
Right. That's what we were wanting from day one. And it finally clicked.
That's right. That's right. You finally saw it all click together, whether it was his violence, right, or his ability to take two, offensive linemen and open up, as you mentioned, open up the back seven. Was that the game? Was it the dance against Oklahoma State, right? Was it the river dance during Oklahoma State that really made him realize, oh, wow, I can go out there and dominate in this league because we're seeing it.
We are seeing it, and we're seeing it with those sacks, the dominance of the Baylor defense, 6 sacks against West Virginia. How'd that feel to see that?
Well, Baylor had
you got to call
6
those
sacks.
out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's right, he did.
Yeah, it was fun getting to call out a couple of Apu sacks and his teammates as well. But we had 6 sacks in the first 5 ball games, and then 6 more in the 6th ball game. And it really did start up with him, right? He ate up a lot of the focus from the West Virginia offense, but he also inflicted some pain, and he opened it up for the rest of the line. T.J. Franklin had a sack. Terrell Bernard was back. He had a sack. And, Seth Dagey, last week's quarterback, wasn't the most mobile quarterback. That was the kind of thing they should do, they did.
Right. And BYU, they have 2 younger quarterbacks. They've had some shifting in between.
One of whose name is Baylor, by the way.
Right. That's right.
And his brother is a wide receiver. So hopefully they go with the other guy, and we don't have that brother connection going on.
That's right.
But Jaron Hall is doing well for BYU, but he is a young quarterback, and hopefully the Bears and Apu-Ika can get after him and maybe get 7 sacks this time.
I think they take that.
We'll be back with more of the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. Bring Seth back on to go inside the numbers. Don't go anywhere. We're talking BYU and Baylor football up next.
Go back through like the
Welcome back to the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. I'm Brooke Bednarz, Derek Smith. We have Elliot Coffey over here. Talked some defense with him, and we brought back Seth Russell. He did a great job of talking offense, so we thought we'd bring him back to talk a little bit more just overarching what homecoming means to Baylor, what this game means to the Big 12. It's a little taste of what is to come as the BYU joins the Big 12 with those other programs. And we're going to kind of go into the numbers before we go and kind of wrap things up about how excited we are for today's game. But Derek, inside the numbers, walk us through what you're seeing from up high as the PA.
Well, hey, we've got to give credit to David Kay today. David Kay from Baylor Athletic Communications tweeted this out after the West Virginia game last week, and it's a great stat that speaks to the approach and I think the confidence of this offense under Coach Aranda. There's a defensive element to this as well that we'll talk about. But this is really interesting. So far this year, Baylor has attempted 7 fourth downs in their own territory. So inside of their own 50, Baylor has attempted to try to pick up a conversion on 4th down 7 times and been successful on 6. So that's a great percentage right there. That's B, a lot of drives extended, and that is C, a lot of extra points. Just to give you a couple, you look at those, they all but one led to points. And when you talk about close games in the Big 12, that makes a difference. Seth, start with you. When you are on an offense that goes for it regularly on 4th down, what kind of mindset does that impart to you and your teammates when you know if you don't pick it up on 3rd down, you can still go on 4th?
Yeah, it's huge because it gives you 4 plays rather than 3. Normally you're punting on 4th down, and especially with a high, probability of making the 4th down and getting at least 10 yards. Statistically wise, if you're making 3 yards per run, you're going to get a first down every time you're driving. And so, and then that gives you more shots to take shots down the field, more plays on the offensive side, and makes the defense a little bit more tired. It's hard to predict if it's 3rd and long or 3rd and short and you're throwing it. Most of the times, rather than not, you're going to try to run it and get the first down. But if you're throwing it, hey, you have that next shot to be able to run it and get a quick, 3 or 4 yard gain, move the sticks, move the chains, and then keep the ball rolling. I think that's really huge for offense and keep the defense guessing.
Well, and I think it's really cool. We have the breakdown right here of those 7 plays, those 6 that were converted. And it didn't just equal some points. It equaled 31 points. Most of those, they didn't end up as field goals. We weren't having to rely on Isaiah Hankins. We were converting those into touchdowns and finding ways to get 6 on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think when you look at the play calling, a lot of times we're scratching our heads understanding why on 3rd and 5 are we running the football, but realizing that we're on our own 35, but we're looking at this as four down territory.
Right.
When traditionally, you, as Seth said, you kick the ball, but if I'm playing defense against an offense that's going for it on 4th down, for starters, that's a slap to the face. They're telling you that they don't think you can stop them. And realistically, if you look at these numbers, our 3rd down conversion rate versus our 4th down conversion rate, incredibly lopsided. Now, you
Very much so.
Right. The average yardage of a 4th down conversion versus average yardage of a 3rd down conversion is going to have a little bit of a spread. Even still, the effect or how effective we are when we do go up for on 4th, it is very present, and it's very understanding of why they do it. And personally, on our standpoint, I love it. I love the opportunity that it gives us, and of course, we make people pay for it when we do.
I really like how Coach Aranda, I just love how cerebral he is and how he talks about the decisions he makes. To your point, Elliot, he said, as a defensive guy, I did not like it when they would go for it. I think of the things, what puts pressure on me as a coach. And so that's what he's tried to impart to the offense. But even from a coaching standpoint, does that impact the calls you make as a defensive coordinator when you know they could go for it?
Well, it's got to, right? Because you got to think, if you're going to come out there and you're going to, traditionally on 3rd down, you can kind of play with a little bit of reckless abandon, right? You can go out there and you can send the pressure, understanding that, hey, if we get home, boom, it's 3rd down, or it goes to 4th down and they punt. If you get home and there's still a chance that we go for it on 4th, then maybe you call back the dogs on 3rd down. Maybe you have to play it a little bit more conservative, understanding that they're playing for, a 4-down drive. So the psyche of going for it consistently on 4th is never anything I had to deal with. I didn't play for the best defenses in Baylor history, but when you do that, it opens up the playbook, I think, for the offense, and it makes it much, much harder because you're playing extra snaps on defense.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, as an offense, you're looking at the defense is going to play the sticks, right? So they're going to be right at about 6 yards. If it's 3rd and 6, maybe right inside 5. You run 4 yards, catch the ball, now you have 2 yards to run it on 4th down, right? Now the defense is like, oh, now we have to play real defense. We can't just give up those short plays, and now you got to play a little bit more press, and hey, that leaves up open shots down the field, even if it's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, thinking, hey, it's going to be 4th down, force them to punt, get off the field. Nuh-uh. We're not playing that way.
That's a really good point because it does. It puts a ton of pressure on you because, right, if it's 3rd and 6, you are playing the 6. Hey, if they get 4 yards, 5 yards, 4th and 1, most offenses aren't going to go for that. So you're like, all right, boom, that's a win. But if they carve off 3 and they're confident going for it on 4th and 3, yeah, you're a lot more alert, and it's a completely different game that you're playing. That's a good point.
Well, and I think it even says anything because it's not like we're sending the punt, we're calling a timeout, we're thinking about it. It's like, oh no, this is understood. Like we knew from the get-go that this was part of our game plan.
Yeah, and that puts a lot of pressure on the defensive coaches as well. Just scheme-wise, hey, thinking, let's just get them 3, get off the field. Now they got to put a different concept in if they're like, oh, well, what are they going to do on 4th down? I mean, they've shown this on 7 plays. There's not a lot of game film on 4th down. You can look and break down game film over 1st, 2nd, 3rd down, where you're going to do, depth-wise and where how far they have to get to the 1st down. But you only have 7 plays to really hone in on, and that's advantage offense.
Well, and I think that goes right back to what we talked about earlier, which is Jeff Grimes' RVO offense. And it's a few plays. This is what he says. It's few plays, a lot of different ways, with just as much misdirection as any other team in the country. And when you have that much misdirection going on, that makes your job hard on defense.
If I'm thinking out there, I'm not playing quick. I'm not playing violent, and it gives an opportunity for the offense to go out there and make plays. Now, one thing that I'm going to pay a ton of attention to, Derek, and this is something we can talk about in Inside the Numbers after, guys, is on the plays or on the drives that we go for it on 4th down. On 1st down, was it a run or a pass? And how many yards did we get on 1st down? Because that is the biggest question we've always had is, okay, you see when we throw the ball on 1st down the success that we have. You see when we run the ball on 1st down based off the different looks. So when we're getting these 4th downs here today, because inevitably at some point we're going to have a 4th down that we go for it on. Do we run on 1st down? Do we pass on 1st down? And then how many yardage did we get? Like, how did the rest of that drive play out after that? And I'm interested to see how those numbers shake out. So we're going to talk about that too.
We will look for that tonight on the fan forum.
Tease,
after the game.
Well, I hope that we start as strong as we did last year. I would not be mad if we see another Bohannon bomb down to Tyquan Thornton. How about y'all?
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I mean, just start fast, keep the foot to the throat, on the pedal to the metal, as we always like to call it. Just don't give up. Just keep getting the ball in those playmakers' hands. Get them in space, make them miss. A 60-yard bomb is still a touchdown with a 5-yard hitch route. You break a tackle and you still go 60 yards, right? It still looks the same on the stat sheet. It may look a little bit different on video, but man, that's more demoralizing, I think, to a defense is, you get it 5 yards, you break a tackle, now you can't catch the guy rather than just running vertical.
But points are points. We're super excited to get them however it is. We are thankful that you are here celebrating homecoming with us. Thanks for joining us for the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show. BYU and Baylor kicking off at 2:30. We'll send it upstairs to John for the rest of it on radio. Thanks again, and happy homecoming.
This has been a presentation from Learfield,